saw that when we started, it was like a weird black screen instead of it actually showing our faces. But now we're all but good. We're back now. So, thank you all for being here for another episode of the Average J's podcast. As always, I am Jay Justin Ruiz.
And I'm Jay, Jarmer Francois.
Okay, so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it with one of the more surreal stories I've heard in a while. So, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, Marky Zucks, have agreed to fight each other in a cage match. Now,
would you like to see that?
You might ask yourself, is this real? It kind of sort of is. So, while they haven't technically booked the pay-per-view or anything like that, they have added each other on Twitter. So, originally the tweet came from Mark Zuckerberg. From Elon Musk. He said something along the lines of like, would love to fight Mark Zuckerberg in a cage match. And then Marky Zucks replied and was like, send me the location. So, both of these men, as all, I don't know, older white rich men now, for whatever reason, they both trained in jiu-jitsu. So, they actually...
Elon?
Yeah.
I always thought it was just Mark. Okay, so...
So, they actually could technically spar with each other in an octagon. They have, quote unquote, they have the ability to. So, would you like to see it? Would you watch this?
Is this a question
for to you, to you, Jay.
Because then I left a little line there for people. To be honest, I don't really care, but I would watch, like, if it was accessible, I'd watch it. I'd probably try to invite some friends to my place and sit down and watch it.
So how much money would you pay to see this? Like, if it was a pay-per-view, that was the only way you could watch it, how much money?
That's the thing. I guess I don't care that much. If it was just accessible, like free. Because first of all, they can pay for it themselves.
Very true.
So, now, like, when it comes to fighting, I don't even care to find out about fights unless I'm invited to something like, hey, Pacquiao is fighting this one, or Floyd is fighting, and we're just people meeting up to hang out.
Yeah.
This is a different occasion because you got two nerds trying to fight each other. They got some sort of... It's two nerds with killing abilities, supposedly. Because I don't know if the people that trained them actually gave them all the tools in the killing machine belts. They may have gotten it technically, but maybe they're not that good. They're good to defend themselves, but good enough to be with other professional fighters or like with actual professional boxers. Probably not. They probably can subdue, but not pack a punch. That's my thing. But to answer your question, I wouldn't pay for it. Now, if you told me it was going to be on like Apple TV stream or whatever streaming service is available, I'd be like, oh, I'll watch it. I'll definitely stop everything, put time on it. I wouldn't put money on it.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah. You?
I feel like if the only way I could watch this thing was to pay money, I think I could go up to $10.
Okay, so you aimed low. So you're almost like me, but you're just aiming it low.
Yeah. Like if it was something like it was a promotional thing and maybe the money went somewhere good, $10. You got me for 10.
Now, if the money is going somewhere good, like people that need it, I'll probably be in the
because
$10-$20.
Because these people are so insanely rich, like they wouldn't have to fight for the money. It's for bragging rights,
Or what about like they match whatever,
Or
if you match it, I think I'll do it.
Like, I think that would be a really cool model. Like, it's pay whatever you want, and they match the money to go to whatever thing. Hell yeah, I would do that.
I'll even pay a little more if they both will pay, win or lose, whoever. Like, they're both gonna match it.
Yeah, like they split it. So now,
no, they don't split it. They both pay.
Oh, they
both can afford it.
Oh, okay, so they double your thing.
Yeah.
So they both match whatever contribution. So it's three
Let's say there's a
times
let's say there's a
going
total
somewhere.
of $1,000 from the entire
Hmm.
planet. They
They
Elon
each kick
puts in a
in a
thousand,
thousand.
and yes.
Got you. So now, next question: who do you think would win?
To be honest, I thought it was gonna be Mark because I didn't know Elon has a belt as well. I honestly can't say.
I don't know if
Looking
he has
at,
a belt. I know he's done jujitsu.
but you know what it is? I would probably go Elon because he looks like a dude that fights dirty.
Dude, I was thinking the same freaking thing. I was in my
Because
head. I was like, while Mark is probably very technical, like the
yeah,
robot he is,
yes,
I feel like Elon would like fight dirty if he could get away with
yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly that,
Wow,
exactly that.
that's fantastic that we that we were
Yeah,
on the
because I
same level
again
for that.
I thought it was gonna be Mark because I didn't know Elon has some training, but now that I know, I would say because I even before I knew, I've heard people say like I've had this stuff we talked like yeah I think Elon would fight dirty, and I was like
Yeah.
you see that
So speaking about fighting dirty and a video game that's all about fighting dirty and not getting caught, Among Us is gearing up for its own animated TV show. So, kind of
oh
following the footsteps of things like Angry Birds, right? Another mobile game that went to silver screens and got two movies, I believe, two movies and a
I think so
cartoon, maybe something
yeah
like that. So apparently
it's a
reported on
in a
by
movie
yeah. So apparently reported on by Variety, the animated series is currently in development at CBS Studios. Now, what that means with like current writer strike and all that, who knows? But as we all know, Among Us, it's an I guess like a stealth game you can call it. It was a mobile game. These little astronaut dudes going around a space station. One of them is really an alien in disguise. And your goal is to either survive and find the person, like find the saboteur, or go around killing everyone in sight and not getting caught. So it's so apparently the developer of Among Us, Inner Sloth, is involved with the project. It's being led by Owen Dennis, who worked on Regular Show as a writer. So that already kind of gets the brain ticking. Like, okay, cool. Maybe it'll be a crazy out of this world thing. But he also was a writer and storyboard artist. Wait, no. He worked on Regular Show as a writer and storyboard artist and created Infinity Train. So, two pretty good like things under his belt, especially concerning something like Among Us, where there's that space aspect, and then the wacky like out of control adventures of Regular Show. I feel like those two things married together would create a really cool Among Us show,
yeah I can see that working yeah I would honestly I have no expectation but you have my attention
right? That's exactly what I thought. It's like it has my attention. So speaking about another, I guess, video game. Well, no, it is a video game property becoming a movie. We reported on this a couple weeks ago when the teaser came out. But Five Nights at Freddy's now has a full official trailer. It's 2.5 minutes, and I never played any of the Five Nights at Freddy's. Right? I just was not the age demographic when they came out. It was geared as like a I mean, for better or for worse, it was geared towards children, and it's like pop
yeah
scare, scary game, horror game with like some stealth elements. You're watching security cameras at a Chuck E. Cheese esque uh, arcade with animatronics. Back in the '90s, I believe, is when it takes place. And when you make a wrong move, the title character Freddy Fazbear, he's the main animatronic who pops up and gives you a jump scare. So yeah, jump scare thing turned me off, but then at the same time I thought it was a kids game because I saw the marketing and all the different like products were all for kids. But this movie does not strike me as a child movie. This movie is insanely creepy. Like It's done by Universal. It's gonna go to both theaters and Peacock on October 22nd, 27th. So you'll be able to catch it either way. But it's like practical effects, clearly, with a little bit of CGI thrown in there. But practical effects on these animatronics, dude, they look scary. Like
I wouldn't be able to watch it.
they are like bone shattering, and like when you watch it, Josh Hutcherson is the lead character. It looks like he's coming on to be like the next security guard of the area. The story kind of like that's shown off here is that there's these animatronics are possessed by like the souls of little kids. Again,
that is
making it that much creepier.
I can't handle that.
And it is being done by Blumhouse, so known for horror movies.
Yeah, and they're not bad movies.
And yeah, that's the other thing. Blumhouse does tend to create good, well done movies, right? So I don't know, man. There's something about it though that's like oddly intriguing. I might watch this. I have Peacock, so I might watch this during the day with a low volume. But there's something.
Make sure your back is against the wall.
Yeah, there's something drawing me in about it, and I usually don't go for things like this. But who knows, man?
Well, we'll see. You let me know, because I won't be on that train with you. You're on that by yourself.
So, jumping from, I guess, a incredibly scary thing to another piece of movie news, but way more uplifting. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, brought to you by permanent teenager Seth Rogen, has released character posters. Did you see all these characters posters?
Yes, I did. There's probably a few I haven't. I know. Actually, I saw all of them. I saw all of them. I say this and just hear me out. I don't care. Give me the movie. Give me the movie. I don't care anymore. Just give it to me. You know I want it. It's like another Star Wars movie's coming out. Another Star Wars show. I'm gonna watch it. What are you teasing me for? Seth Rogen, you're the man. Thank you for course correcting TMNT before it got worse, before it turned into a Transformers.
Rise of the Beast is good. Okay.
No, but I mean, it took us a while to get there. That's what I mean.
Okay, very true.
Like, I didn't want another TMNT sequel to the
Michael
Out
Bay.
of the Shadow. Yeah, I don't want. Yeah, they ruined it. This.
So we got posters for seemingly everyone in the movie. There's a bunch of mutants on top of a couple of human characters in there. Now we also got a new trailer alongside of it. We got a new trailer like a week or two ago, I believe, actually. And it actually showed, because I saw it in the theaters this past weekend. I saw the more full trailer.
Is it the one where Raph is really hype and they're like, you have anger issues? He's like, no, I'm really hyped to fight. Or was that the old trailer? Because I didn't see the new trailer.
So this trailer that I'm talking about, we actually hear the mutants talk. We hear different mutants. So, oh no, actually, I think that was a video that came out alongside the character posters. I'm correct, because they showed the actors in the booth at the same time.
Yeah, because that was out, but I didn't listen to the whole thing because it's not a spoilery thing. I just want to be surprised. I just want to go in. Yeah. I saw it. Someone sent it to me. I just want to. I saw the pictures themselves, but the video that Seth Rogen put on his page.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I just don't want to. I just want to go in. I want to take it back. Speaking of the writer strike, what we talked about earlier, I want to bring it back to the old days. I just want to. I saw the trailer. I know it's happening. Now I kind of want to go radio silence on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to be like in the old days where I look in the newspaper. I'm like, there's a showing. But like, obviously, I won't do that. But
you want to call a movie phone and hear him do the voices.
Right? Yeah, like what movies are out?
So for all those that don't want to wait and want to get their earful, go over to Seth Rogen's Instagram page. And that's where I saw the thing. I remember now. But we got to see Seth Rogen, Giancarlo Esposito, Paul Rudd, and I think Maya Rudolph in the booth. But then we also got to hear like the other mutants. So we got to hear Post Malone as Ray Fillet. Um, we got to hear
Ice
Jackie
Cube.
Chan as Splinter. Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko. We got to hear Wingnut. We heard John Cena. I think we just saw Hannibal Buress as Genghis Frog. We didn't hear
I
him,
think we did, yeah.
but we already heard Ice Cube as Superfly. And then one that kind of took me by surprise is Maya Rudolph playing Cynthia Utram. Now, I had no clue that this person would even be in the movie. I thought this was a pretty, like, I thought this was a little bit of a reveal, you know?
Yeah, and I was a little annoyed by that. Like, I believe I knew there was a Krang or slash Utram in this movie.
Hmm.
I just didn't want to know
You wanted it to be a
with
reveal.
with that, but then it's like, yeah, exactly, because I don't want to say most of my knowledge because I have pretty good TMNT knowledge, but having currently rewatching TMNT, which I'm bringing up in a rap later, um, or not even, but you know, it's fresh in my head that there is, there's this character that is a woman. There's a Krang inside of that woman.
Yeah.
It's just weird because I'm like, she's. I'm sure for this movie, it's gonna have more of a personality. It won't be like the 2012 version. And I don't know much
Okay.
about the current version, which is supposedly very popular. It's not gonna be my
Rise of
show,
the Teenage
right?
Mutant
Yeah,
Ninja Turtles, right?
yeah, like the movie, and I know the Netflix movie. I know they all do well. I know the animation is very well. It does well. I love animation, but I just I guess it erred more on the funnier side of things, which was geared more towards kids. I'm not taking anything away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not mad at it. It was just like, damn, it would be cool to just
Mm-hmm.
not have seen that. But again, it's just him showing all the characters. It doesn't spoil anything.
Okay. Um. Cool. So moving on from that, sticking
You're just
with.
like, yeah,
I mean, I think you said it all. To be honest, like I don't know as much about the TMNT as you do. I know a decent amount. I grew up with TMNT. It's been a favorite of mine forever. But I was a little surprised by that reveal because I think I'm in the same boat as like I would have liked to see, anything Krang related revealed in the movie. But at the same time, this now gives me like, is this a really small part and there is another big reveal? Because clearly, as much as we say we like things to kind of be like contained, nowadays that's a big rarity. This is
and that's
going
true for
this
yeah,
is
and I
going to
was like,
lead into another movie.
yeah,
I
and
would
it's true
be
for us. Mm,
I was just
go
going to
ahead.
say I would be incredibly surprised if this was a one movie like in and out deal.
Oh yeah, I agree. But for people like us that know, like it's in the trailers, they talk about the ooze. Like we
Hmm.
know there's a connection there, so we know it's again kids that were just born are don't know anything about TMNT, so that's going to be all new to them.
Yeah.
One day they'll get older and they will know that there's an 80s version that murdered people, and they'll figure it out. They'll do their own investigation. It's like Spider-Man. No one knew who Spider-Man was, but I mean, when they're babies until
Yeah.
they learn about the MCU. That's their first instance of Spider-Man. They didn't know about the comic books, the cartoon we grew up on.
Hmm.
They didn't know about Papa Toads, but they retroactively learn as they get older. So with TMNT, same thing. But yeah, I heard
No,
you.
I think you're absolutely right. So it's still excited, still very excited to see this movie, and like we had said at the top, if you want to go hear these people and all that, go to Seth Rogen. I think it was on Nickelodeon's thing as well,
Most
but
likely.
definitely Seth Rogen for sure. His Instagram page has that video up. Now switching over to another fan favorite franchise that's getting its own reboot adaptation, if you will. Superman and Lois Lane have been casted for Superman Legacy. James Gunn's foray into the DC universe finally. Right, that's gonna be his first film. He's casted them. It's gonna be now. I didn't know this guy. I know the woman. I know Lois, but um, David Cornsweet.
Yes,
I
exactly
don't
that.
I don't know where he's from. he has the Superman physique for sure,
He's 6'4".
especially the face, like cut,
He
jawline, perf.
he's he's good because and seriously though, he is gonna bulk up. So if anyone's
Yeah.
talking crap about it, he's gonna bulk up. Don't worry about that. James Gunn is great at casting. He said in an interview with, oh, and I forgot to send it to you, and I forgot to put it online. He said that if someone was better than Chris Pratt, he would have hired that person. But
Yeah.
Chris Pratt seems to take the cake. So David Corenswet, I've seen him in one thing, but he's done little multiples. He's never been in like a series, uh,
Hmm.
you know, what's the word? Series regular. I've seen him in House of Cards, and then I just recently seen clip of him in a show. I don't know what it is. He was like dressed as a soldier in a place.
Apparently, he's best known for his breakout role in Netflix's The Politician.
That's what I've heard of. It could be that's where I saw the scene. But the way he was speaking, I was like, that is Clark Kent in a way. There's a hint of Clark Kent.
Hmm.
But my thing about this is, look, I love Henry Cavill. I love him. Perfect Superman of our modern time.
Yeah.
I had no problem with him being British, but what's just cool to know is that Superman will be played by an American actor
Yeah.
because it is an American hero. Again, I have no problem where you from as long as you can act the hell out of a role. I just think it's a nice, cool thing. Like the last person to play the last person to play Superman that was American was Brandon Routh and Christopher Reeves,
Yeah.
and I was just like, is Brandon Routh Canadian or he's American?
I have
So I
no
don't want
idea.
to
I thought
because I said that.
Brandon Routh was American.
Well, if he's not, then I meant to say Christopher Reeves.
He's
But
American.
cool. Okay. Yeah. So again, I'm not taking away from Henry Carr. I just think it's a cool nod for it to be like, I don't know. It's just a little thing inside me where it's like, I think the United States needs a hero right now, and when we finally get this hero, and it being an American actor, hopefully he has no skeleton in his closet because with
Hmm.
things going on with a lot of actors nowadays, he brings hope. He has that
Well, he has the potential to
and
be that symbol, right?
that
Like the
symbol.
real life
There's
symbol.
Yeah, and look, I love Henry Cavill in his real life. I've heard he's been difficult with things in there, but I want him to be, and this is me wishfully hoping that he could be like Tom Hanks in a sense, but not like the father of America, but more of
Hmm.
like the brother of America. Um, but I'm getting too into like the wants of what I want for this person
Hmm.
to just I want to see him more off. I know he's gonna be great. James Gunn picked him. I just want him to bring some hope to the country.
Hmm.
I hope this turns a lot of bad people, and I'm looking at the racists out there, to good people. I don't know. That's just super, super wishful thinking, but I don't know. And then Rachel, she's great. I've seen her in things. You've seen her in this show, so I don't know. But like, she's perfect. I have no bad things. I want to say as much as I said about David Cornsworth about her. This is not a misogynist. I can say more about her, but you should say it because you've seen her in the show. You take it away.
So as Jay just said, Rachel Brosnan has been casted to be Lois Lane opposite David Cornsweet.
Cornsworth, you got it. You've
So
been saying it.
now, before I get into that, I think I have the same hopes with Superman with David Cornsweet. I didn't really know if he was American or not, but I think I could speak for both of us saying like you could be from anywhere as long as you're from America, right? But that's a joke. But I'm happy that we have this quote unquote all American Superman, right? And I think to your point, it he has, whether he likes it or not, he has this mantle that is kind of pushed on him. What he does with it is, up to him in the movie and how he acts. But he does have that opportunity to become a little bit of a symbol of hope, a real life embodiment of Superman. Now, moving to Rachel Brosnan, I love her. Rachel Brosnan is a fantastic actor, and she kills it in Marvelous Miss Maisel. I know there's mixed reviews about later on in the show and stuff. I still think her own character portrayals
Yeah, her, just her.
is, you cannot touch it. She does so well. She literally embodies that character. Now, the challenge when it comes to her is, and this is just me because I'm a fan of that show, like, will she be able to kind of differentiate herself from that character and break out as Lois Lane?
So like the way we saw, like for example, I believe her name was Erica Durance. With that version of Lois Lane, like you can, when you look at her, you think of Lois Lane, or when you look at uh, Ashley Adams, Amy Adams,
Yeah,
Amy
Amy
Adams,
Adams.
yeah, like oh, like like to me, like she is a Lois Lane.
Yeah,
You got I forget the actress name who played the Christopher Reeves version. Like she is a Lois Lane. I don't get much with the current CW run because I didn't spend time with them.
yeah,
But maybe someone the fan of the show can say that she is Lois Lane as well. But I can't give my opinion on that. But you're saying can she
yeah. Can
be?
she? Because we're used to seeing her for good reason in that show. She's like that. She was a stay-at-home mom. She kind of got pushed into making it on her own. She's a comedian. She kind of leaves behind those old conservative ways to become a successful comedian. She's still like that, like, quote unquote classy woman and all that, but she has like a mouth on her like a sailor, right? She curses a lot, and the character is based on the oh my god, that famous female comedian. It'll come to me. She passed
Silverman?
away.
Oh,
She no,
it's an old.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
she passed away a couple years ago, but
got it.
it's based on her life and how she became a comedian, loosely. But yeah, she kind of has this reputation of being, the housewife, and then she becomes this, comedian, uh, going about her life in New York against all the males and the perceptions of what a woman should be. It's Joan Rivers. That's who I was talking about.
Got it.
Shout out to my wife for for jogging my memory there. But yeah, so that's a very different type of person than Lois Lane, right? She's very good at portraying that 50s housewife. Can she portray that more modern kind of like hard scrabbled reporter, right? I kind of when I think of Lois Lane, I guess nowadays, like I think of Amy Adams, right? Like to me, she was a great Lois Lane.
Yeah.
So is it something where she could take that mantle, and when I think of Lois Lane, I'll think of her? I think she can, but
Yeah.
I guess I'm more so interested to see how she takes that role. But I think she's gonna crush it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know what's crazy? Like she's our age too. Like I remember first time I've seen
No, she's
her
not. Is
was
she really?
she's 32, I think. So
No
she's like older.
way.
Yeah, dude.
I thought
When
she
we were
was
watching House of
older than
Cards,
that.
she was our age. We were in college, and she was acting. She was in House of Cards, and she was like a regular. So I
What?
was, yeah. That's how I've known her since
I thought
2013.
she was like in her 40s or something.
No, but that's another thing. Remember what James Gunn said? He's like, I'm looking for younger actors.
Yeah,
He
and which
wants
is
people to
why
go into that role.
I
Like
thought it was a little weird because I was like, oh, she's a little older for Lois Lane, but I didn't know she was like 32 or
you know what
something
it
like
is?
that.
If you're watching Miss Maisel, like that's just good job on the what do you
Makeup department.
costume and makeup team. Yeah, like sometimes like I this is kind of be a tangent. You know, this show is known for tangents. I think of The Office. Like season one of Michael Scott he was meant to be a guy you
Oh
did
yeah,
not like the way he looked, the way he wore his
his
shirt,
hair.
and the way it just crushed his neck and his hair. It made him look like a boss that was very cringy and annoying. And but by season two and three, the way his design looked, he was someone you pitied sometimes, and you got to a point where you like actually fall for Michael Scott. So if you do a good job with makeup and costume, you can get whatever person you want, however age you want them. But
Yeah.
I think for James Gunn, he wanted someone that when the series or say that again.
No, I was just gonna say, and it's these like almost
Sorry, I just
subtle.
like
I was gonna say it's like these almost subtle ways that they do these things to the characters, right? So like with Michael Scott, they found
yeah,
a way to thin his hair, like with whatever gel, makeup, and makeup magic. They found a way to thin his hair and make him a little more bloated and stuff around, make his face a little more rounder. So like he looked like a typical boss that you didn't like. So
Yes.
with Miss Maisel, maybe they wash out her natural color on her face, and like maybe they bleed a little bit into like the soft wrinkles she might have, like the crow's feet or something like that, to like kind of age her up a little bit, because her character is like, well, I mean, I get like at the beginning of Miss Maisel, I don't think she would be the same age. Like her character, I think is like in her 30s, if I'm not mistaken. So if the show
Yeah. So by that
started,
time, if it was 7 years ago,
yeah,
she was like 20 something. Yeah. And yeah, so you can say that a lot about a lot of people. Like for me, and this is another side tangent. Tom Holland to me looks like a baby, no matter
oh
what
yeah,
thing he's in. So, but he's younger than us, but he's up there with us. But when he was in Cherry or this new show he's in, I can't see him. And not is this because he was Spider Man. I can't see him as a grown adult and maybe because he's played Spider Man, because Spider Man was 15. Um, it's yeah, but anyway, taking it back because we got to give it to these guys. James Gunn wanted them to be younger, and when they get older, as the franchise progresses, they grow into their personas, their character personas. So I can see that working out. I can see Lois Lane, uh, maybe getting not Lois Lane, but both of them creating Jonathan Kent. I don't know.
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, I mean, this is, I'm sure, the very beginning where they're probably just friends. They're probably not even
Yeah,
romantically
like not
entwined
even
yet.
now. Like I mean,
Yeah.
like in the future when these actors actually get older, and by that time we'll be older, so we'll kind of like this will be our growing up with them in a sense.
Hmm.
But I know James Gunn doesn't want to follow the Marvel. Uh, uh, what do you what do you call it?
Oh, the Marvel format.
Yes, thank you. The Marvel format. They're doing again. What I like is where they just do things just differently, and I like it. You just
Hmm.
give me things that connect.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Phase One in a sense of Marvel. Like, just give me that.
Yeah, I think a more linear connection would be better rather than the Marvel thing of like now it's a web. Now there's branching things that connect up and down
Well,
and sideways, right?
Marvel was always linear in a sense, but I think when you include other mediums,
Well,
you
I
know what I
mean,
mean,
what other mediums as well as like you talking about different movie
like TV shows.
sto- yeah, other TV shows, but then other like movie storylines on the side, right? So like Guardians of the Galaxy, that trilogy is its own trilogy. Like those movies stand alone, but then they also connect downwards to the Avengers line,
No,
right?
no, so what I mean is not that type of connection. I mean like mediums like TV shows. They're gonna like, for
Also,
example,
just
when
solely movies.
Shield came out, like the
Hmm.
movies ignored the TV show.
Yeah,
Even though not a lot of people cared for it, I thoroughly enjoyed it because like I that's one of the reasons I stuck with it.
yeah,
But because I stuck with it for so long and the movies ignored it, it kind of was very it was messed up to me
yeah.
as a Marvel as an MCU property. So it had to do its own thing. But now they're focused on TV shows on Disney Plus. They have a home. But I was like, you always had that original TV show. But long story short, even the Netflix stuff too, it was a little like they kind of ignored it. They ignored it a bit. But what I mean is that James Gunn is going to have like an animated series that still connects to it.
Hmm.
And what I love about the animation department is that you can tell any story, any timeline,
Yeah.
and they're gonna do their thing. So I'm that's what I'm looking forward to. So it's a web, but that branches through different mediums.
Okay.
So Marvel wasn't able to do that. They're doing that now, but they're kind
Hmm.
of also
Well, it took till Phase 4, right, for them
yeah
to get a handle on everything.
yeah.
But no, I agree. I agree. You got me there. Now switching over to a fan favorite that might
That we've been
actually
waiting.
that might actually not get made, right? So coming from Superman, that's actually happening and happening in a great way, going to this Disney property that actually might not happen. So Honey I Shrunk the Kids sequel, originally deemed Shrunk, might not be happening.
Oh,
So
looking at the wrong part of the docket.
so this was actually like announced years ago, I believe 2019. It was announced 2019, and it was originally going to be a Disney Plus film with Josh Gad being the lead. He was going to be playing Nick, who was the son of Rick Moranis' character, he would be playing a grown-up version of the son, I guess, getting into the
Ah,
same hijinks of shrinking the family.
got it.
So Josh Gad actually took to Twitter again following this thing. Remember, we started this months ago saying Twitter is like coming back up as this, news outlet again, and sure
Yeah.
enough, it's continuing. So he went to Twitter and kind of did this, like he kind of like pleaded with the fans basically. So he said, "A lot of you are asking me what's going on with this film. Truth is, we were inches from starting, and then COVID hit. Inches from starting again, and then my schedule exploded with conflicts. Inches from starting again, and budget got the best of us. If you want it, let your local Disney know." So he really wants to do it, apparently. Um, he's like been gung ho about it ever since the announcement in 2019. But like he's saying, all these things have been happening to keep it from getting made. They're right there. Script is done. Filming has not started. So they just need the fan support to kind of push it over the line. So this has also been described as, this is the first time I'm seeing this off of IGN here, this word, a legacy sequel. So a legacy sequel. So it's something breathing new life into a franchise in order to kick it into its own deal. So think like Ghostbusters Afterlife, right? Something like that. So apparently the biggest thing was we were going to see the return of Rick Moranis. Very famously,
You got it.
Rick Moranis took a extremely long hiatus from acting when his wife passed. He decided to stay home and raise his kids. So now Rick Moranis is effectively way older and hasn't acted for quite some time. This was supposed to be his big return. So it was rumored up until 2 days ago. Josh Gad on that same post confirmed that he was going to come back for this. So I think that alone is going to give it the kick that people need. People have, Rick Moranis left the industry at the height of his career. He made a very important decision and he stood back to raise his kids. Now, you know what? I might be wrong. I don't know if his wife passed or got sick.
Uh,
Something happened with his wife, and that's why he stayed home. I can't remember right now.
yeah, died of cancer.
Okay, so she did die of cancer. So the last appearance he made was in 1997 with Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
Yeah, so there was that. The last thing he did, film wise, was a direct to DVD. He played Rut in Brother Bear 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
That was like the last thing he did.
So,
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
he said he told USA Today that he found it too hard to raise his kids while making movies, so he just effectively took a break. So, if this was the thing to bring him back, this is something that not only could, kickstart this franchise again, but could breathe new life into his career because, like I said, he left at like the height of his career. He had done great things with the Honey I Shrunk the Kids franchise, as well as stuff like Spaceballs. He was seen as a great comedic actor, kind of like that nerdy character, but always
Yeah.
delivered well. Little Shop of Horrors was another one. So he had a lot of good things under his belt, and he just took what is that? Almost 20 years off.
I can
Little,
see this happening. It's funny as I'm going through this stuff. I didn't even. I may have not seen it, but he was on a commercial with Ryan Reynolds, Mint Mobile,
Rick
and he
Moranis?
looks good. Yeah, he looks good. I'm just looking at a picture right now. He looks really good for
I
his
had
age.
no idea
70.
about that.
I didn't know. Like, I knew Ryan Reynolds does Mint Mobile stuff, but I didn't. I've never seen this commercial. But
Hmm.
as I was going through information, it's like he reappeared on a thing with, like, on the limelight with him.
Hmm.
This was 2020.
Huh, that's pretty cool.
So I think it's as you say. I can see this happening because it looks like he's coming
like
out, and then
wetting his
also his
feet, right?
yeah, and his kids are older now. Like
Yeah.
he either it could be nerves. There's a lot of new things. Not saying I'm making it sound like he's a shut in, like he doesn't know what's going on the outside world. He knows what's going on. It's just when it comes to the acting world, it's like, well, look, if this guy short round could do it, I always say he got it.
Hell yeah. So talking about another amazing return to form with a fan favorite character that everyone wants. So for Netflix's adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the original Cabbage Man from the cartoon has signed on to play his live action counterpart. So we will get the same guy screaming, "My cabbages!"
My
that
poor
screamed it back in the animated show when we were kids. I loved this piece of news. I felt like the world needed to hear it. I'm
yes,
happy that he gets to do this all over again.
100% deserved
Um, so, so another thing, talking about doing something all over again, Futurama has come out with
I didn't
a
even see that.
brand new trailer. You haven't seen the Futurama trailer?
No, when I saw it, I didn't see know there was one.
Yeah, man. So now I'm going to give you the highs and the lows.
Mm.
There's a lot of highs, right? Returning cast, all the voices are there, all the characters that you know and love are there. Um, Same kind of humor. It's funny, Bender doing his little shenanigans. Um, Now the lows, and this might sound a little counterintuitive to what I just said, but there's too many returning characters. So what I mean
Like,
by
are you talking about outside of the main crew?
yes, so the secondary characters like the worms that were in Fry's stomach after he ate the egg sandwich and then created that crazy empire. The Borax kid who was like a random gunslinger that we saw for like 5 seconds in an episode. Um,
So it looks like they're just doing little callbacks just to do
yeah,
callbacks.
and that right there bothered the heck out of me.
It seems
I
very machine. It seems AI generated.
I don't know. Maybe, yeah, kind of, to be honest, because it feels like it's just a rehashing. Now, those characters, those secondary characters, were cool because they were original when they were being made. Even in the series, like those characters are one off in episodes randomly across, what a
All those
15-year
episodes.
lifespan, right? They were in one episode. So for them to come back, it's a little weird. I also, we have to wait and see the actual show before we can kind of weigh in, but the premise that they give for returning was really weird. Like they say that in that ship that they were in when the professor picked up Fry and Leela, like it goes back in time and they were unharmed by whatever time portal, but Fry and Leela are young, and so is everyone else. Everyone else is the same age from when they ended the series. But then on top of that, how do all the other characters fit in? How are they all the same ages and stuff?
The things that
It's like, and the thing is, like, it's been, I don't remember the exact number, but it's been like another 1,000 years or a couple of 100 years at least. Like, I remember it showed like the numbers at one point,
yeah,
because they also showed the mutants from where Leela comes from.
yeah,
So, and they had like a little banner of something, and it said, I can't remember the date, but it might have been a couple 100 years. But yeah, I don't understand how that kind of fits in to the overall story just yet.
yeah. And I think if it's the same group, they're good at tying things together. Like when they were canceled, they did the movie. Everything was
Yeah.
connected. Like it still worked. Maybe they figure it out. Again, I don't have any qualms for this show. We had our qualms, but
Yeah.
it's coming in fast. I just gotta rewatch the series again just so I can. I wanted to rewatch the series. I just never got to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did finish How I Met Your Mother, so this could probably be the show that I rewatch. Um, Yeah, man. I don't know. It would have been cool if they just did lost episodes. Like if, but then it would have made sense if they did lost
Oh, like in
episodes.
between episodes, like that
Yeah,
happened.
that would have been cool, but I don't know.
I think that would have been really nice, actually. A good way
Because
to
then
bring them
it's like
back without
you could, yeah,
touching the other stuff.
you can do fresh stuff in between that still connects and doesn't hurt anything. And if it something was bad, it's like, hey, this show, even this, it again the way it ended on Netflix, or it didn't end on Netflix, but if you were watching it on Netflix, it just is such a perfect ending.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
even
it was
if you don't
beautiful.
watch this, if you don't watch this one, it still works.
Wow, for sure. Um, yeah. Now, talking about something that could have been everyone's favorite secret agent was almost played by everyone's favorite, well, most our favorite Superman. So Henry Cavill originally went out for the 007 auditions back with Casino Royale, the revival of the franchise, which we all know it went to Daniel Craig. But during an interview with The Express, Martin Campbell, the director of Casino Royale, talked about his screen test. He said that he looks great in the audition, his acting was tremendous, and if Daniel didn't exist, Henry would have made an excellent Bond. He looked terrific. He was in great physical shape, very handsome and chiseled. True. He just looked a little young at the time. So, I mean, I feel like he would have been an awesome, like,
Especially
James.
from his show. I mean, not
Yeah.
show, his movie, Man from Uncle, or was
Yeah,
it
The
Man
Man
from
from
Uncle?
Uncle. Yeah. And it was a movie about a show that used to exist, right? Um,
Yes.
but I think he would have been awesome. Like, he would have had that. I think he would have been a great in between of, like, Pierce Brosnan looks, but also could have gave us the Daniel Craig action, right?
And definitely, have you seen? Well, you've seen it. Why am I
Mission
forgetting the
Impossible.
name? Yeah, like when it comes to just the spy stuff, I think he works. He fits in.
Oh, like just the spy stuff in general. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
think
fits
he
in spy
does
stuff all
great.
the time. Yeah.
No, yeah, Henry Cavill. I think it would have been super interesting. I mean, I'm also not opposed to seeing him take on that role, right? Like now,
If
because
he came back, I would be with it.
why not? Um, there's been a lot going on with James Bond. People didn't love the way that Daniel Craig saga kind of left it. They also didn't love Daniel Craig. Um, and then on top of that, there was all that kind of drama with Idris Elba, and Idris Elba actually spoke about like him not even like caring about the role anymore. He was saying that
Yeah,
once it became about race, he kind of soured on it. And he was like, "Listen,
and he's been about that stuff when he's like when things is about race, he's just like,
yeah, like don't cast me just to cast me to fill a like to check a bubble, right? Like let's do this for real to make a cool movie." Um, so,
okay,
but I'm cool with getting a whole new Bond and like breathing some new life into it. I did kind of fall off of the James Bond. Also, Daniel Craig wasn't my favorite. He was super cool and I liked for what he did, but again, I would not mind seeing Henry Cavill going in. I mean, listen, he's freeing up some time, right? He's done with The Witcher.
yo, he got no job.
Let's get him back in, right? Let's put him in the tux. Now,
We got some people that don't like Bond in
I'm
general.
seeing the chat is kind of going off here about not liking
Oh my god,
James Bond
or Henry.
or Henry Cavill. But as always, if you're listening to the VOD after the fact, you can go ahead and watch us live and chat at the
Yes,
Average
that's why we're
Jays
laughing.
on
Yeah.
twitch.tv/the Average Jays. So moving on to our next piece here, we have a hero that no one asked for, and thank the Lord, no one's gonna get. So,
Hero?
well, I guess he was a villain, right? Like anti-hero, villain, whatever. It doesn't
Probably
matter.
that.
We're
It
not
doesn't
gonna
matter.
see it, and that's what matters. So, El Muerto, which was originally
Uh,
put on Sony's docket, and it was going to star Bad Bunny in the titular character role, is finally dropped off of
but
its slot.
I wanted you to say that. But supposedly, yeah, we did talk about Craven. This is from Gaming Chemist on
Yeah, we talked
Twitter.
about Craven last week.
We already said he's basically White Panther. You can see it on our last
Yes.
episode. um, Supposedly they're looking at a female wrestler to play this role of freaking El Muerto. So it came
You're
up on my
lying.
feed.
You're
It came
lying.
up on
That
my
can't
feed,
be.
and I'm like, they're not gonna let this go. Like that canon event, yes,
No, I cannot believe that. Bad Bunny was
dude.
supposed to be El Muerto.
He was supposed to be, but I think they're just like, okay, we're not dealing with it. But supposedly they're still eyeing someone for
No
this
way.
mythical role. I gotta find it up. But what do you think now that I'm telling you this? Because this might
I
be old
think
news.
they need to let this thing die.
Let
So,
it die.
for everyone that doesn't know, El Muerto was actually a random Spider-Man villain for like a page in one book, one time, and never came back in. And for whatever reason, Sony was like, this guy has all the lore in the world, let's make a movie.
You know what Sony did? They were like, "Yo, we gotta get in the good graces of the fans. Get all the there's 300 dudes in the room. They're just flipping. Yo, what about this guy? This guy right here. I'm like, bro, he doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah. I'm sure now he does, but at the time when it was announced, he did not.
I'm
But apparently, the
obviously Sony is doing something right by pulling out randoms. Maybe it's making money. It's getting
I
things are
guess
getting done.
apparently, the only piece of lore that I guess you need to know that his real name is Juan Carlos Estrada Sanchez. Juan Carlos Estrada Sanchez. He's a son of a luchador who finds out that he will inherit a mystical wrestling mask that will imbue him with superhuman strength and endurance to go up against gods and men as a professional wrestler.
But okay, so you said okay. So there is a El Muerto movie
Mm-hmm.
called El Muerto the Aztec Zombie. It is based off an American comic book, but it's an imprint of. It's not a Marvel. It's nothing Marvel related.
It's just a random
So
comic.
what I just told you is an independent movie of an
Also, a
imprint.
whole
Of,
other movie
it's a whole in
called
2000. It came out in
El Muerto.
2007. Yeah, so this has nothing to do with Spider Man. I'm wondering if they got like some rights to it. I'm just like going through it right now. It seems like
That's
there's no
weird.
connection whatsoever. Um, yeah, but it's weird. I wonder if they will pull from this because that would be some weird like.
So here's the thing. Here's the other piece of this story. According to Deadline, the Spider-Man spin-off is still in development, but had its scheduled impacted by the ongoing writers' strike
Oh,
and
it's a double-edged sword.
complications.
If this continues, it's like we lose this, but if it keeps continuing, we lose other great things. It's like, what do we choose?
And complications surrounding Bad Bunny's touring dates. Oh, jeez. Bad Bunny, drop another album so you don't have to do this. I don't know how they got you on this, but please don't. And then writer strike, please end, but just the writers on this project keep striking. You deserve more. Please. It's just I don't understand how this has the legs to keep going. And even though it's, development has paused and all that, why is the studio even lending resources to this thing? Like, why? For what?
Mm.
Give people that worked on Across the Spider-Verse a raise. How about that? If you need to throw money somewhere, give them
Speaking of that,
bonuses.
because a lot of people left.
Yeah,
when
I
they
heard
were
about that
filming,
too.
so,
That
like,
apparently,
they should give them that money.
like
Or
100 writers left during the production.
Or, and I hate to say it, do a better job with Morbius 2. Like
Morbius 2,
like,
it's
if you're gonna-
Morbin time.
Yeah, just if you're gonna run it into the ground, just try to bring it back. I don't know. It has to go somewhere.
So, from one movie that we don't want to another one that we do want, we finally have some smidgen of Spawn news.
Oh my god. I'm so
So
sad that I have to eat my own words.
So apparently, the release window was revealed by the Bloomhouse head. It was Jason Bloom. You know what's funny? I would have never thought that this guy's name is Bloom, but his production studio is Bloomhouse. So I guess that makes sense.
Yes.
So, according to Bloomhouse, Todd McFarlane's Spawn reboot is aiming to hit theaters sometime in 2025 after nearly a decade in development. A full decade. Now, this is coming off of comicbookresources.com. There's a huge thing that kind of breaks down what's been going on with Spawn ever since like 1997. You can go ahead and check it out over there. This was more so just to kind of show us that there is a date.
I'm just waiting. Remember when it was supposed to come out in 2023?
You remember when it was supposed to come out? Like, you remember when we first heard about it when we were like in college or something? Like,
Yeah, but it was at that time we had no date. When we had a date, it was 2023. We're halfway through,
oh
a
yeah,
little over halfway.
when they first showed off Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, and they said, "What's his name? Hawkeye. What's his name?
Oh,
Guy with the
Renner,
snowplow."
Jeremy Renner,
Right.
Jeremy Renner,
That's a snowplow.
Snowplow, nice.
Yo, they announced him as Twitch, and I was like, "Oh, great!
Yeah,
Well, funny
yep.
enough, we're going to stream live on Twitch." But yeah, and yeah, Blade. You know, people. You know what? We have okay. So we are now we did a interview for our Talking Heads segment. We talked on that too. Just a lot of crazy stuff when it comes to the writer strike. It's affecting a lot of things, and yeah.
Yeah, but can you even attribute this like now? Whatever delays happen
Oh, this
will be
no, you
that.
can't.
But like this has been like forever, man.
No,
This is
I
I
hope.
hate to say it, but something in the back of my head is saying that it's completely Todd McFarlane's fault that it's taking this long.
Honestly, I don't care whose fault it is. Right now, I'm just not thinking about it. It's just when it come ups and come ups, it come it comes up in the news in our feeds.
Hmm.
It's like, why, why remind me of this? It brings me this depression I had when I saw the HBO version when it was canceled, and I was like, this was a great piece of
Yeah.
thing, and it was taken away. And Todd was a part of that. He was
Yeah,
the
he
intro guy.
was. Yeah. I think he was
Shouldn't
a
have brought that.
producer on it too, right? Or am I wrong?
I'm not surprised.
Or maybe like an executive producer or something.
John Wick is a real hero. Yes.
So it's it's like cool to know that it's supposed to come in 2 years, but like I guess we're not gonna hold our breath because God
I'm
knows
gonna
how
be
long
32,
it's gonna
so we'll
take.
see.
But something that's coming this upcoming year in 2024, which I think we can all get behind, is Chadwick Boseman will be receiving a posthumous star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So announced Monday by the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, Boseman will be honored with a star in the category of motion picture. So I think that's super cool. I mean, he has more than enough. I guess a more than enough of a back catalog to give him
Yeah,
that. So I'm happy that he is getting that recognition, and he'll always be like enshrined on that Hollywood Walk of Fame. So
there's well deserved. I don't think we can say anymore. He's
yeah,
just well
it's
deserved. I'm
just
happy. I honestly was thinking about going to not anytime soon, but I was the want to go back to Cali for a bit. Once that starts, I would love to go check it out.
that would you know what that would be cool. I think that'd be a really cool thing to actually go to Cali to see like something like that. I mean, I've also never been to Cali, so I would just love to go. But I would definitely
Oh,
want to
name name another movie besides Black Panther, 21 Bridges. You
42.
got yeah. Or what's the other one? I don't want to say James Brown, but it was a James Brown movie.
Yeah, it was a James Brown movie. He did great in that too.
Yes, yeah, and
in
all
the
those
James
things.
Brown movie. I actually
Yeah,
just saw 42 not too long ago, and I loved it. Um,
I saw it for the first time in college, but it did come out
well,
when
it
we were in
came
college.
out. That was when it came out. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. So that wraps it up for all the TV and movie news. Now we're gonna jump into some video game news, and we only got a couple things here, so we'll make it
we
quick.
just knock it out.
So another really nice, I guess, tribute to a an actor that we lost, Lance Reddick, can be found in Horizon Forbidden West. Now, for all of you that have played the Horizon games, he was in both the first one and the sequel, Forbidden West. First one, he plays more of like a mentor slash guide character, and then spoiler alert at the end, you find out that he's like not a good guy.
Yeah,
Um,
he's not a villain. He's just not a good guy. He's not a
yeah,
good guy.
and then his one of his last appearances, like to the public, I guess, was in Horizon Forbidden West. I actually didn't even play it yet. I do plan on playing it at some point. But did he play a really big role in it? I know you played it, right?
In part two,
Yeah.
not as big as the first one, but he is present. Like he is there.
Mm-hmm.
And more towards the end.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's really
So think
cool.
of it as the inverse of the first one. Like
Okay.
it's just
I
like
get
he's
you.
not there, and then it's like you reluctantly have to work with him.
Got you. So yeah, it's really nice. It's literally just like on the edge of a cliff where you can kind of like see this huge like landscape, and in the distance you see the Hollywood sign. You can actually see his name kind of like enveloped in this like pillar of light, and it just says
Mm-hmm.
Lance Reddick, and it has like this nice little circle around it, and you can sit there and you can rest, and it kind of gives you that nice little break from the game, right?
Kind of reminds me of in the first game when you spoiler alert, you go see your clone's home.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, which I
this is,
think,
we've seen other points like this in games where they give you kind of like that respite, right? You get one that's comes to mind is Arkham City, where you get when you see the rose and you can stay there, and it like the camera just circles you as Batman, like you just kind of like
yeah.
honor his parents' memory. But yeah, it's just a nice little thing that I came across, and I figured anyone who has a game, go ahead and go check it out. It seems really nice. So from there, we're gonna go to a fan favorite. I mean, I don't even know if I can call it a fan favorite. It started off really strong, but then, by all accounts, kind of died off. Multiverses has officially shut down until 2024. The open beta, which was around for a while, it did really well. It actually got an 8 out of 10 out of on IGN, and it was steadily funneling in new characters. Um, but it's closed now, which I don't understand because a lot of open betas like stay open and they allow people to
Like
keep
the game.
playing and like gather data and stuff while they make whatever adjustments in the background on the
Mhm.
base game.
Yeah,
Now, what sucks here is that you paid money for this game. Like, it is free to play, but there is battle pass, there is microtransactions, as well as DLC characters that you can buy. Now, it's weird. It's upsetting to feel like you put all this money into a game. If you were a returning player, you put all this money into
yeah.
the game, and now you can't access the thing that you bought, and it's not your choice. It's kind of just that's
Hopefully,
it.
hopefully they get that money or they get that those things that they purchased because that'd be messed up. Because what and a slight tangent here. When you buy something from like Amazon, especially like physical copy, they don't take your money until the thing ships.
Yeah.
When you buy it on, if you buy a digital thing, Xbox, Nintendo, or PlayStation, even if it's coming out a year later, they
Hmm.
take your money right then and there. So it's like either you give those people a refund or you give them all the things back when the game re-releases. I hope there's some sort of email or notice that says that because that would be truly messed up on their end.
So
So,
as of right now, there's nothing that's been said.
do you still
It's
have the actual file of the game on your PlayStation or no?
I actually
I
took it
think I
off
deleted
I deleted it the other day. I hadn't played it in months, but I had
Yeah.
literally just taken it off the other day.
Oh
Um,
wow. Because it
like
would have been good
before.
to know if like I can just turn on and see. Because it might say closed, but I would like
Yep.
still be able to access the game itself and see if it still worked.
Yeah.
And be
So
like, we'll be back in a year or so.
yeah. So literally right now, all that has been said is that it'll be back in 2024. Nothing else. I'm assuming that content will return and be accessible once the full game launches. If not, then yes, they have to give back the money. The thing that sucks here is that the whole point of this game is to, it's an online fighting game, and if you're taking away the playable aspect, like, I mean, at least leave it there where it could be like a couch co-op thing or something like that, where you can enjoy your stuff. But no, the game's locked, man. You can't access it because it's all online based. So
Yeah.
you literally got like you paid for however much money you paid for it, and then that's it. You have no
Well,
access to the thing that you bought.
Smash is on top now.
Yeah, I
Smash
guess.
is Smash has always been on top. It's just like they didn't have a problem.
So
So
yeah, I thought this was super weird. That
facts.
they would do
Yeah, you're
that.
right. They never left the top. They've just always been there.
Facts. Now talking about a game that's never left the top, Red Dead Redemption, always a top.
What? I'm just seeing the docket
What
right now.
happened?
What?
Oh yeah, Red Dead Redemption might be getting a remaster. So apparently, um, as this is another thing coming through Twitter, but it was a take it with a grain of salt. It was from a random person. So South Korea's Game Rating and Administration Committee l- listed. Okay, yeah, they listed something. It was just titled Red Dead Redemption earlier this month. So the listing is completely separate from the original 2010 Red Dead Redemption, as the rating for this can still be seen on the website. It's also different from Red Dead Redemption 2 because it's also listed separately. So nothing else is given in this listing except that it is a version of Red Dead Redemption and has also been rated as an 18, so like rated M pretty much. So
Oh.
I would love this. I have not played the original Red Dead Redemption since the Xbox 360 days. I
Well, have
loved,
you played the game before?
yeah, I loved
Okay.
2 with all my heart. I really love Undead Nightmare, and I would love to have both Red Dead Redemption 2 and DLC Undead Nightmare remastered and brought to modern consoles. I hope that this is real and not something just not
I,
happening.
I would say I wouldn't want it because, and then I'm just thinking about me, and then for people that could be in a similar situation.
Hmm.
First, I wouldn't have the time, and I still haven't played two. Like I bought
Oh my
two
god. What are you
once,
waiting
and then
for?
I got it illegally a second time. But I, dude, I told,
What
I
are you
just
waiting
got Final
for?
Fantasy, and I'm still playing Jedi. Like,
Dude,
luckily I'm off the next 2 days. I'm gonna try and beat Jedi.
are you
I
far?
still, I don't know. I was just giving away a shift so I can freaking
Play a game?
so I can play video games, bro. I was like, well, luckily someone like slight tangent. Someone asked like, "Yo, can I pick up a shift?" I was like, so anyway, no, but real talk, I wouldn't. I don't know. There's so many remasters. Like I think there are certain things deserving of remaster, but Red Dead
Hmm.
Redemption seems to, I don't know, want to say recent, but I feel like focus on GTA 6 before you give me some like, you know
Dude,
what I mean?
Red Dead Redemption 1 came out in 2010.
I know, but it's
It's
like
13 years, man.
I know it's not recent like that, but I mean, if you, I don't know,
Trust me,
give me
GTA
do
6 is not going anywhere. I'm sure
it's
that.
not going anywhere. I'm just talking about like resources. But if you so like for example, you said it before because I know this was popular. Undead was super 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 popular. Do something similar because I'm like, what does Red Dead 2 have besides just the game itself? There's no add-on. This
Yeah, I don't think there's
give me
anything.
or not me. Give people what they really like that popular thing. Um,
I mean, the online aspect was pretty popular for a little while. I don't know if I'm sure
Yeah, but it's
the
not
servers are
happening.
still up, but I don't think it's like
I
booming.
don't hear about it. Like it's. I remember when Undead. I remember being on, and that was always a thing. And
Yeah.
I'm sure if it was now, if they did another version, do that. But
I was hoping for another Undead Nightmare after Red Dead Redemption 2.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, they should have done that.
but moving over to some developers now. One thing that I didn't think we'd ever hear. So Microsoft has actually admitted that they lost the console wars. And
Oh yeah.
Jay, I'm gonna hand that off to you.
Hopefully I didn't lose that. Yeah. So, I'll just start with this snippet here. Ahead of FTC versus, I forgot what FTC is, so you might have to give me a second on there.
Futures and
Versus
Trades
Microsoft.
Commission.
Thank you. We saw Microsoft argue that Xbox has lost the console wars and its rivals are positioned to continue to dominate, including by leveraging exclusive content. So, do I need to say more? We've been talking about this. Like, we knew they've been losing. The fact that they admitted, happy, but there were so many ways they could have fixed it. We can repeat ourselves again. When 360 was doing their thing, they were doing their thing. A lot of people said, "Oh no, but they're exclusive content." I'm like, "Yeah, but Xbox got exclusive content." But moving forward into the PS4, PS5 time, I think what PlayStation did was stay consistent. Gave us Still stayed consistent, giving us exclusivity, but tried new things. Like I remember for PS3, they tried that PS Home thing. Didn't work out. If you remember
Mm-hmm.
PS Home,
Oh
that
yeah.
was very, very short lived. No one did anything with that. They tried when Xbox Connect, because Xbox was filling themselves, so they did Xbox Connect. That was pretty dope. That was like,
What was Project?
oh, it was Project Nexus or Project
It
something.
had a weird name, but continue.
Yeah, so find that. And so PlayStation's, response to that was like these ghost sticks. That was kind of like the Wii.
Yeah. The Was it the Move?
I don't remember.
I think it was
But
PlayStation Move.
even though PlayStation 3 was up and down with their
Project
stuff,
Milo is what it was called.
there we go. And even though PlayStation was still up and down, they stayed consistent. Xbox, and I've said it many times before, they could have held it down. Bioshock and Mass Effect were the two things that I always mentioned. They had it
And
first,
yeah, it
and then
was called PlayStation
Microsoft is
Move.
like they're doing their thing. Um, and I'll tell you this: when the Xbox One came out, the reason I got it was because of this game called Scalebound. It
Yep.
was super super cool. I They canceled it, and I was like, what was the point of me having an Xbox? I played Halo 5, which was not great to me. Graphics were cool. I just didn't care for it, and that was it. That I don't remember playing. And then I think I played a little bit of Forza, but that was just free.
Hmm.
So I now that they admit, it's like I think you're late in admitting that.
Oh yeah, they're way
When
behind. They definitely lost.
PlayStation 5 and Xbox were hard to get during COVID. What were people still trying to get? PlayStation 5. Um,
And it's
need
funny
I say more?
because
There's more I could probably say about it,
at the beginning of this generation, I didn't even want a PlayStation 5
I think
because,
your concern was about accessibility.
well, not only accessibility, but where they had tested and rolled out Games Pass. Games Pass was having its heyday, and it was more accessible. And at the time, it seemed like they had a lot of like first party games. And I was like, you know what? Like, Xbox is looking good. It's a more powerful machine. Yeah, it's money, but like I think this is where I'm gonna be heading. And then PS5 came out, and it came out kind of swinging with content. In the very beginning, it trickled out, but like as it kept going, it just was like it dominated absolutely beyond reasonable doubt. It dominated the space, you know,
Yeah,
and even with flops that it had, and I mean they were kind of like cross console flops, so like something like Cyberpunk 2077. did terrible. But I mean, I feel like the thing that I heard about with people trying to get it for PS5, I don't think I heard about anything about people getting it for Xbox. And
Yeah.
whereas Xbox has, I think, moved towards a space where it's a little more of a like, you get it if you're like the PC person who wants to build their own consoles. Like if you are looking for the best performance machine, that's where you go. You want Xbox. But
Yeah,
in
but then there you can argue that the people, and then most of these people are very snobbish about it. They're like, consoles suck. I just build my machines.
wait, there's that. Yeah.
I'm never gonna denounce that. They're
Mm-hmm.
right. Then if you want the more, high end superior machine, you do that.
Yeah.
But for someone like us, who can afford to get, like, I remember when I had all three consoles. Well, technically I did because I had the Xbox One, uh, the PlayStation 4, and the Switch. Which, by the way, Phil Spencer said like, "Oh, we got to stop talking about the
Mm-hmm.
Switch." But I'm like, the Switch survived two generations and is still making bank. And
Yeah.
then Zelda alone is carrying the whole team on its back. So yeah, that, need I say more on that?
Yeah. It's it's tragic, but it's true. They lost. They won 360, then they
I will
lost.
always say that. I will always say that. And I had a 360. I never had any negative things to say about PS3. But they won the 360 timeline. Going forward, and like, I'll just read a quote that he said here. Look, it's all about I'm not saying it verbatim, but he
Mhm.
says, everyone has um their niche when it comes to video games. But even when you talk about the Switch, it's designed for people on the go.
Yeah.
For me, I don't really travel with my Switch. Like, when I come see you later next month, I'm most likely gonna bring it. Um, but it chills here. If I'm on the plane, I'll have it there. But I have my PS5. Like, he was talking about all these things, but he was just like, we'll get them next time. And then he goes
Yeah.
and says here, as a console war is a social construct with the community, I would never want to count our community out. They're big fans. If you look at our market share in the console space over the last 20 plus years, we're in third place. And I'm like, okay, it's out of the three. But I understand what he's saying, but it's like, you know, I think if they did something that stayed consistent, because they did something different with 360, but they thought
Mm-hmm.
they were all hot, whatever, hot poop. And they're like, no, we don't need to make exclusive. And they were banking on the Xbox was relatively new. Like, forget Xbox 360. Xbox itself was relatively new at the time
Yeah.
because
I mean,
it was
still,
just
yeah.
it was just initially it was PlayStation and Nintendo. When the PS2, Microsoft was like, we got the Xbox. That was still like that was a very indie. No, I don't want to say indie. That was a very underground thing, but it got fans. It got fans, and you know what it is? There are people that have both systems or have all systems and a console. Like, they do everything. I know a couple of my friends that are like that, but that's
And
not everyone.
I think one
Some
of the
people can only afford one.
big things that also hurts Xbox is the exclusives that they do have and the first party games have struggled. I mean, their tent poles, right? The tentpole franchises, Halo. Last like 2, 3 Halo games have not performed well at all. Gears of
They
War,
should have. Yep.
took a nosedive after 3. Right, it was just really bad. There's talks of rebooting the franchise.
Which
There's
is which is so dumb.
it's just things like Forza. While it is technically fantastic, like it's not a crowd getter. You're not going to get that many people from it. It's a simulator, and it does, it will attract people that enjoy those games. I mean, anyone that likes a racing simulator, Gran Turismo, whatever it may be, like it'll attract them to it. But that's a small niche of the gaming population. You know, it's just not enough to get people back on their side. They need more goodwill, and they just don't have it right now. But
Yeah, I think Dave Bautista's. I think he probably still the right age to play. Gaming
oh, for
chemist
the
said,
Marcus Phoenix movie,
yeah,
yeah,
To be
Yeah,
honest, but
game
then that's just a
chemist.
movie. We're
Yes.
still, if you look at it, it's not going to save Xbox, if
No.
anything. Because if, let's say, Gears does horrible,
Which, statistically speaking, it probably will.
yeah,
It could surprise us all, but most likely it's not.
yeah. But
It's, I feel like they're grasping at straws here. You know,
they either you give me a non numerical sequel to the Halo and Gears franchise. Do something new. Do something original. Get your Bioshocks. Get your Mass Effects back. Not obviously you can't get it back, but like get like something original,
yeah.
and then follow the PlayStation formula. Like just give us things that like PlayStation won't have, and then it's like it kind of brings it back to like I remember back then I didn't have any of those consoles. I had my Game Boy Advance SP. I was that person because I didn't have any big consoles at the time, but it was 360. No, that wasn't. It was Xbox, GameCube, and um, Xbox, GameCube, and
PS2.
PlayStation 2. But like when I went to a friend's house or I borrowed someone's GameCube, I loved playing Beautiful Joe. You can't play that in the. You had Beautiful Joe. That was such a cool thing with the no other game was doing that. Maybe there was, but like to me as a dumb kid, Beautiful Joe was dope. You couldn't play that on Xbox. You couldn't play it on PS2. Like you got to give me something that gravitates me towards that. Like
I
Black
think
Nerd
it
Comedy.
started on GameCube and then it went to PS2. I don't know if it ever went to Xbox.
You're probably right, but what matters
But
is
still,
exclusivity.
even if it's that
It's
timed exclusivity,
yeah,
like,
exclusive because it was initially because Capcom.
yeah,
I think that's what it was. It was Capcom.
yep,
Yeah, man, it was exclusivity, and when Beautiful Joe was on, I think Marvel vs. Capcom, I thought there was going to be a comeback. I thought Beautiful Joe might come back on Nintendo Switch, but that was just me
yeah.
wishful thinking. But again, Marvel just not Marvel. Sorry, they're just such a big head. I'm thinking they're all synonymous. They're all. It's just one big machine. We're in the Matrix. Um, Microsoft just needs to just stop being idiots and just make
They need
something
to cut the
different.
poop. They need to cut the poop, and they need
Yo,
to cut it quick.
Alan Wake was another one, but guess where Alan Wake is coming out? All systems.
Yep.
Alan Wake 2 was supposed to come out, but they were like, no, let's focus on Quantum Break. Quantum Break was cool, but I feel like I was the only person on the planet that brought. I like Quantum Break, but when I mention it to people,
Oh,
they're like,
with
"Oh, I know about that game," but I was like,
the only thing I remember about that game is that it has Iceman in it.
and it probably wasn't Iceman; it was probably his twin brother.
His brother. Yeah, that's right. It's just
It could
like,
be.
I, some of the decisions that they made kind of blows my mind, and then they paid the price for it, right? Because initially, if you think about it, they focus on Quantum Break instead of Alan Wake 2. Now, does that push the studio to then go cross-platform with Control, which did fantastic when it came out, and now
Yeah, but
Control,
Control was cross-platform.
now Control being cross-platform, they know what they want to do. They keep it cross-platform with Alan Wake 2. Like, these small decisions end up having big outcomes later on,
Again,
and
I
they need
could
to
rant all
start.
day. I
They
can
need to
rant
start
all day.
forecasting a little better.
Yeah, I can rant all day about Scalebound, but like, I don't know. I don't know if I sensed it or if you've seen it. That was such an Xbox type game, and that could have been that one thing that you could have given me 3 games with those. Like it was a dude in a fantastical world with beats. What what man?
What could have been
They yo talk about MMO. Like it's
massive missed
upsetting.
opportunities.
It like I'm not even mad I wasted the money for the Xbox One. It's just like, and then I had hopes, and then people would talk smack. I was about to say the other S word, talk smack about Xbox. I'm like, yo, but they might. And this was back when Xbox One was down, and they're still not doing a good job. Like, I don't know anything about when we were talking about all the things they acquired. I was just like, I'm the same thing with WB. Wait till the product. I'll wait till the product. Here,
So,
I'm waiting for Spider Man. PlayStation. I'm waiting for Spider Man. I got my Final Fantasy, which is crazy because Final Fantasy is exclusive to PS5. So
yep.
good thing I got a PS5. So it's like, so yeah.
But talking about Xbox, them acquiring stuff and all that, and their desperation. That segues perfectly into the next one. So
Yep.
apparently, Xbox considered acquiring major studios, like major ones, talking Sega, Bungie, IO, um, Niantic. Like the
It's
list,
crazy how they're trying to get Bungie, like
the list
hack
goes,
them. I wonder
the
what happened there.
the list goes on and on. Apparently, there was a hundred, a hundred different developers that they wanted to approach and try and acquire. There was also Behavior Interactive, Remedy, Rebellion, Paradox. Those are just a couple, like I guess the what you call it, the key ones. But it's crazy, like they really were. I think this was again like a desperation move, grasping at straws, like trying to fill in their gaps, right? Because they don't have these first party games, or like even I guess these like technically third party. Well, not third party, but I guess if they get acquired them, maybe second party. Regardless, they don't have enough exclusive games, so the easiest way, fold everything under the umbrella, and then it's almost like a forced exclusivity, right? Because they're owned by them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's insane. And to think about some of these things like Niantic, the only claim to fame that Niantic has at the moment is Pokemon Go. You know, they are developing another game with like monsters and stuff like that. But right
You're
now
telling me. Tell me about it.
their biggest property is Pokemon Go, and it's steadily declining. So that's really weird that they would try and acquire something like that. Like, yeah, you want to acquire something when it's cheap and bolster back up to make you money. That's profit, right? But then you get something like Zynga, which is another really weird one. Zynga was, they cut their teeth on making like Facebook games, and now they're the mobile space. But I just don't understand. Some of these are a little weird. Like I don't understand what they would get by acquiring some of these studios. Like what's the payoff here?
What's another one? I think. Ooh, No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky. Oh
That's
no, No Man's Sky was
cross-platform.
initially no, but initially it was PlayStation. But I think
Oh,
PlayStation was like, let's give it to Xbox for a bit. Let's give them a little one. I had it the other way around. Sorry, but
but yeah. So and the biggest one on here is Sega, right? Like Sega has enjoyed a pretty decent partnership with Nintendo, and then on top of that, other games that they put out are cross-platform. So stuff like Yakuza, right? Or I'm trying to even think what else. I mean, I guess Sonic
Sega's sitting
games.
pretty because
Sonic
they were
games are
like, oh, we out of the
cross-platform.
console game. They're like,
Yeah,
I'm out of the console game, but I'm sitting pretty. I'm just making bank, just chilling on the sidelines, making stuff.
yeah. So the two biggest ones, I guess, being Yakuza and like Sonic. They're major properties. They're cross-platform, and they would be system sellers. Like if you were to have
And
them as exclusive, right? Sonic fans
and
would go rabid over every Sonic release, even if it sucks, right?
they
Like
got a movie, so
yeah. So and then Yakuza is a fan favorite, game. That's just kind of crazy.
yeah.
So it definitely would move units. But again, this just strikes me as a huge desperation move. All of this information was disclosed due to the Activision Blizzard legal battle that's going on right now. They had to provide different documents. This was one of the documents they had to provide. They spoke about the all of the different things that they tried to acquire. There's also an email exchange back and forth between Microsoft and Sega that was dredged up for this. So if you want, there is a pretty in-depth look at this over at IGN, and it breaks down all the different studios and the email and everything else about the FTC battle that's going on right now. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We're gonna move into our weekly wrap, and then we're gonna head out of here. So, Jay, what have you been watching, reading, or playing this past week?
Um. So watching, I just finished watching an episode of Unicorn. Still don't know where it's going, but I'm still interested. I want to see where
Mm-hmm.
this goes. But one thing I can say that I liked and I saw this weekend Um, it's not necessarily a, it could be a watching, reading, or playing. Went to the Harry Potter exhibit, took the
I
lady
saw that.
over there, and it was pretty dope. She really liked it a lot. Like, I'm a casual Harry Potter fan. She
Hmm.
is a big Harry Potter fan, just like your wife. Um, she loved it. I thought it was cool. One thing that we both agreed on, because when we came back from Spain, we went to this museum. I'm sure it's not a foreign thing. It's more of like a depending on the museum kind of a thing. And the museum we went to, we used VR, or not VR, augmented goggles. That
Hmm.
when we walked into the room, we can hear the I guess the speaker or whatever. I forget
Hmm.
what it's called. A curator, a virtual curator, speaking into us, into our heads
Ooh.
while we look, and then we can see all the things. So it's an empty room, but then you interact with whatever's there. And you know how like you walk into a museum, you can read things, but sometimes you don't grasp it, or is that just me? That's just me.
It might be just you.
Yeah, because sometimes I'll be looking at things, I'm like, oh, okay, or things don't interest me because I don't care
Oh well, I
what it
mean, if you're
is.
not paying attention to it, then yeah, you're not gonna grasp it.
Yeah. So, but with this thing, it holds my attention. I guess that just
Hmm.
works for me. For someone like myself, where I walk into a museum and they're just talking to me, um,
Well,
and
yeah,
I'm
that's
seeing
why
everything.
a lot of museums have like the headsets that you can get that like break down
Yeah, I don't do
everything.
that either. I work better when it's because it's also things are fluttering in front of me as well. So I'm a good visual and
Mm,
listener.
okay.
So that's why I love film and television. So like, kind of side tangent. Whenever someone plays, like for example, my dad loves classical music.
Hmm.
I don't really care too much about his classical music, but I love like Final Fantasy music because it's like there's a visual aspect to it because I know how the game works and I know how the
Hmm.
music plays, so I can imagine action sequences playing with that. So
Okay.
with when me in this museum, I see like while they're talking to me, they're talking about this artist or this the architect and all this stuff. They talk about the building. You can see the inside of a building, or they take you inside something, and I'm like, it's just taking me through everything. So I'm paying more attention than a regular museum. Now with Harry Potter, I thought it was cool. The only reason it held my attention is because I know Harry Potter. Gabby really likes it. I was able to I was like, oh, I know that, I know that, I know
Hmm.
this, I know that. Um, but it was fun. I liked it. I forget how long we were there for, but it was a good amount of time. One thing I wanted to shout out was, and I know you would find this hilarious. So they have the Horcruxes in one section of the room or one of the rooms, and they have all these things encased. But in one encase, I took a picture of it. It says the invisible cloak, but there's nothing in there.
I
Cracked up.
I dig it. I
It
dig
was
it.
just nothing. Because I was like, yo, because Gabby pointed out, he's like, oh, there's nothing in here. And then I looked up and I says, babe, it says invisible cloak. She was like, oh, I get it. We cracked up. We cracked up. Um,
I would enjoy that a lot.
I think what we made we gave a criticism in the sense that they should have put like a stand in there because each of the Hulkers had stands, but that one didn't. But there should
Oh,
have just been a stand in there, like if it was
well, I
missing.
mean, well, yeah, I
Oh,
guess
but
if
no,
it was
you're right.
hanging
No, no,
on the stand,
it would have made it invisible.
yeah,
So
it would have made it invisible.
yeah. So, but anyway, it was funny. But that was cool. But after we saw the movie, we saw The Blackening because remember I've always said I wanted to see that movie.
Oh yeah.
Very
How
good
was
movie.
it? It was
It was
good.
very good. Yeah, because I had no, but the thing is, I had no expectation to it. I
Was
knew
it
I
like
wanted.
fun or was it good?
It was both.
Hmm.
Like after leaving the movies, I was like, this is a movie. If I was still in my buying Blu-rays, DVDs, I would buy it. But I don't think it's at that level yet. Like I think the last movie I bought was Belle. I
Oh
bought Belle,
yeah.
the animated, like, and there, and Tenet was purchased for me, but I would not. I don't think I would have bought Tenet, but I seen it. The only reason I saw the movie was because I bought Tenet. I didn't see it in theaters, but it would have been something I bought. It's pretty. I loved it. The commentary was great, of course. Definitely, I think you guys should see it. Both of you. I think you would just enjoy it.
Hmm.
The way it ends, it just ends, and I can't tell you the ending because it's just that good. Um, but it's in the trailer too. The actor, I forget his name.
I didn't. I didn't even think that movie. I don't think I've seen the trailer. I've only seen the poster for it, and I didn't even think I would give that movie a chance. Like I was like, oh, this looks
It was
dumb.
funny, and for those listening, we talked about it in our other segment where it's something that probably would not. There's not a lot of known. The only people I recognize was Jay Farrow's in it. He's there for a little
Okay.
bit, and this girl from Insecure. I'm forgetting her name. She's like best friends with Issa Rae in the show. She's in it, and then for those listening, if you don't know, you don't know. But for those listening who knows the show, but one of the actors, he was in Coming to America 2. He played the son. He's in it, and if you again, I would say check out the trailer, but I'm gonna butcher this. But there's a scene in the movie, and it's in the trailer too, so it's not spoilers. Where they're like it's they're playing this game, and it's like who's the blackest person in the room,
Hmm.
and they're like all arguing, and they're like, wait, why don't we just choose him? He's like, I'm not the blackest in the room, and he's like, I like this. He says all nerdy things, and he's like, I voted for Trump, and then they were like, they all gasp, and he's like, twice. It's just the way that he delivered it, and the camera's up on his face, and then he has this Steve Urkel, like he's not like Steve Urkel, but he has this like droopy lip, so it's the way he
Hmm.
delivers it. Because I've seen this actor before, even in
Hmm.
Coming to America too. He's very cool. So for him to play this such a nerdy loser character, and then just, I think that the performances were great. Um, yeah, it's such a good movie, and it's gonna be one of those that becomes a cult. I have a feeling, and if you have the time, if let's say you don't see Flash tomorrow,
Hmm.
definitely check that. It's and only some people can watch this. I don't think a lot of like white people can see it, but if they do, they're probably, it's one of those too. Like only people of color can see this movie,
Oh. Okay.
and it's not like excluding. It's just if
Well,
white
I
people see
mean,
it, they
it.
need to understand why. And it's not making jokes at white people, it's at the expense of us. Like for example, this is just a made up joke. It's like something something something, damn, those cops would shoot us, but like it's like one of those things,
Well, there's
because
something
like
to be
they're like,
said
why
about
would they?
like cultural jokes, right? Like to be honest, like those are jokes that you would probably hear a group of like minorities, black people, brown people, whoever you want to say. Like those are things that they would be saying, rather than like maybe people like white people or people of other races who just wouldn't get it. Like it wouldn't be their type of humor.
They wouldn't get it. But then that is the problem. And I'm not gonna get too heavy on this, but let's say they were sitting in the theater and they heard some joke like that about, oh, like, yeah, they would just shoot us, like type stuff. Their recent memory would go to George Floyd, or but like there are a lot of shootings out there. But then would this movie spark a conversation where for someone like me
Hmm.
or you would be like, this is funny. It does bring up a smart conversation, but we don't have to have that conversation because we understand.
Well, yeah, it's also like the way comedians will poke fun at you know not great things. Like it's in order to break it down, and like although they are jokes, there's some truth behind them, and it's meant to entertain, but it's also meant to provoke a little bit of thought.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the
So
the subtlety there is important. So if they're doing it well, then I mean, great. Like,
yeah, and I won't say much about the movie. I just think it's really cool, like the horror aspect, because it's a horror comedy.
mhm.
It's not scary, um,
It struck me as something
because
like a scary
it's not.
movie, like the movie Scary
You
Movie.
can think that way, but it's not in a sense because it's not a spoof. So
Hmm.
that's the thing. It's not a spoof, but it's like think of Cabin in the Woods, where Cabin in the Woods is more of a commentary on scary movies,
Yeah.
which is a scary. It is a scary movie, so there's no comedy in there.
Hmm.
But think of that, but with not as crazy. It's not as fantastical.
Okay. Okay.
It's think of it as more like Jason's a little more fantastical. I'm trying to think of Scream in a sense, but comedy.
Well, yeah, Scream is like a scary movie that has undertones mocking scary movies.
Yeah, but it's hard for me to explain until you see it. Um,
I'll give it a shot.
give it a shot. And what else? I think reading One Piece is on a break, so I realize I always read One Piece with My Hero, so I probably have some My Hero to read. So I got to do that. And then playing. I've barely been playing anything. I just want to play Jedi because I touched. So I want to get through this so you can talk because I don't want to go too long. So Final Fantasy dropped Thursday or Friday. I
Hmm.
downloaded the demo like Wednesday, played a little bit of the demo, which is the beginning of the game. But I'm like, why am I doing this? I know it's going to carry over. But I was like, I deleted the demo, got the game, installed it the night before, and played a little bit. I felt guilty because I was like, I know Jedi staring at me in the face. So I played a little bit. I got to the point because with Final Fantasy, you could play you play as the older version, and as story progresses, you kind of swap back and forth, past and present. So I
Oh,
played as the kid.
okay.
I just wanted to feel the mechanics of the combat, so I did that. But I was like, oh, I can't keep doing this because if I get used to this, I won't play
Yeah,
Jedi.
forget
And
Jedi.
I was like, I need to finish Jedi. I just need to finish it.
I had no like I didn't really, not that I didn't care for Final Fantasy 16. It just wasn't on my radar.
Yeah.
I like the Final Fantasy franchise, but I'm not one that like I need to get all of them. Um, so I just, this one I think was just gonna pass me up. And then with you talking about it and my friend Ben, he was like raving about it. Like he could not shut up about it
I can say
when he.
more, but I don't have a lot of knowledge. I know it's good just to like not to take your spot there. Um, you've played 15? We've
Yeah,
discussed it.
yeah,
So it's more of a deviation from 15, where 15 to me was kind of like the stepping stone away from.
yeah.
Well, it's not the stepping stone. It was a complete step away from the turn-based model. Which again, turn-based is not a bad thing, but it took away from that. They followed more of the Kingdom Hearts aspect, the hack and slash. But this one is more like Witcher. It's trying to be more. It's trying to compete with the more modern, the Blade Runners, the Dark Souls, the Elden Rings, but still keep that RPG aspect of it. It still exists from what I saw, from the little that I saw. The mechanics are still there. There's only two versions. There's story mode and action packed. I chose action packed because I ain't no, I ain't no punk, so I chose that. Um, but that's all I can say about it. Like it's, I think this is going to be their new thing. Uh, if you like the turn-based stuff, there are a lot of other turn-based games for those listening out there. So Final Fantasy is dope. I just need to finish Jedi.
Okay. For me, watching hasn't really been too much. I saw Transformers again. I actually went to Orlando and I took my dad to go see it because after I saw it the first
Oh, tell
time,
me his experience. Yeah,
dude, he freaking loved it.
especially
I
the end.
was upset because the GI Joe thing at the end got spoiled for him. So
Did you
he
just
already
spoil it
knew it
for the
was
people
coming. He just
listening now?
didn't know when, you know, but he knew it was coming. And then he like knew it was coming and then he didn't know the context around it. So like when it happened, he was like, "Oh, snap." And he loved it. He loved every minute of it. He loved the music. Every time a song came on, he was bobbing his head. He liked the characters. He liked Anthony Ramos. He loved the different Transformers. You know, he also got a little giddy when Optimus Primal yells out "Maximize" and everyone changes. He was like, "Oh!" So it was just really fun to go see that because he was a big fan of um, the '80s series, like the cartoon. You know, he didn't follow it forever, but you know, he was a
Yeah.
big fan of the '80s cartoon. He knew about Beast Wars, and like he was listing stuff at the end. He was like, "Oh, you know, you really got to know about like Beast Wars, the Dinobots, and everything." I was like, "Oh snap!" I was like, "Okay, Dad."
Yeah, because Beast Wars was more our time,
Yeah.
if any.
So it
But you
was,
probably stuck with it.
yeah, it was cool. I'm sure he knew a little bit. You know, whatever he knew about it was from me. Um, but you know, it was just fun to see him getting those reactions. So I saw
That's
that.
cool.
Beyond that, I feel like I haven't really watched too much. The latest thing that I've been watching, and it's been my bedtime thing, and it just started randomly the other day because my wife Erica put it on, is the Great British Baking Show.
I've heard people liking that.
Dude, it's amazing. Like it's so nice, and it's so different from like cooking shows that we watch, like American cooking shows. Like that competitive aspect, it's there,
Hmm.
but it's not like the central part. It's really just about like baking the best that you can, and you know they still judge you on it, and people get sent home if they're not up to snuff, but it's just really cool, and everyone makes the same thing. And the point is like each challenge that they dish out, it's you have to make it the best that you can. And these bakers are baking everything from like sweets to Italian pastries. They had to bake pizza. They have a bread week. They did caramel for 1 week, and they had to do different dishes with caramel. So it really runs the gamut. Like it's supposed to like show off your baking in general. Like you have to be able to do a bunch of different breads, but you also have to be able to bake all these other things. Sometimes they get dishes where they have to cook stuff that goes into something else. Like it's a lot. It kind of like when you think about it, when you stop and look and see all the different elements, it really tests the person on like what they can make and create like on the fly.
Yeah.
So it's really cool, and again, it's nice, chill. Like it's the perfect thing to fall asleep to. So that's what I've been listening to on my journeys to Dreamland,
Nice.
and then playing. What I was gonna say before is because
Skip
of
over reading. We already know this.
you and my friend Ben. When Ben got the game, he like couldn't contain himself. He was so over the moon, and he texted me Friday. He got it Thursday when it dropped, and he was telling me all these things. I was like, dude, how many hours have you put in this game? And he was like, oh, like 8. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, it just came out
40-hour
yesterday.
game, probably not even doing any story.
Dude, he
Well,
was.
the
And
first 20 is like linear.
yeah. And then from what I'm hearing, it's, he was telling me that it's very Game of Thrones. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty dope. So I was like, you know what? Fine. I got the demo. It's free. It's sitting on my PS5, like, for whenever I get to touch it. Um, but in terms of games that I've played, honestly, I haven't played a lot. Like, I've played a little bit of Pikmin 2. Remember, I got the first two on Switch. I played a little bit of that and Marvel Snap. But I haven't really had a lot of time to kind of like sit down and play. I think I played 2K like once or twice last week. But yeah, this week has been real slow with like consuming stuff. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So now we can go ahead and wrap this episode up. Before you all go, remember we will be at Tampa Bay Comic Con next month, July 28th, I believe. Is that Friday?
Yes, that is.
So the 28th, 29th, and 30th, we will be at Tampa Bay Comic Con in Tampa, Florida. So if you're in the area, please drop by and say hi. We will have a table set up, not only for the Average J's podcast, but for Jeremy J. Francois and all the comics that he's put out himself. So come on, say hi, and walk away with some comics maybe.
Work.
As always, you can find us here on Twitch.tv every Tuesday at 9. I know we started a little late today, but thank you for bearing with us.
And we know it's Wednesday. We're not crazy.
And we know it's Wednesday. We did move the day. We're not crazy. So every Tuesday at 9 p.m., twitch.tv/theaveragejays. You can also follow us over at Twitter at the Average Jays and Instagram, The Average Jays Podcast. As always, I'm Jay, Justin Ruiz.
And I'm Jay, Jeremy Francois.
And we will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you all.